My loves, before we get into the topic of the day, let me tell you that fall equinox is coming up Sunday, September 21st. And as you may already know, every equinox and every solstice, I do a free meditation. Thousands of people show up. It's going to be at 7 a.m. Pacific time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be doing it live on Substack. If you head to daniellelaporte.com/innersun, we'll send you the link. There's a little prep kit that I send in advance. Nothing big and detailed, just like if you're going to do this with us, ideally you could be seated in lotus position, facing the east with a candle lit. And if you are driving your kids to church, I take you however I can get you. Fall equinox is all about extra light, extra downpours, very powerful windows to set your healing intentions. It's really a time to honor our capacity to balance the shadow and the light, to bring the shadows forward, all that stuff in the psyche, and to pour our light on it and really live as healers. It's going to be a 30-minute visualization. Think nature imagery, golden prana, heart radiance. We're going to be seated on top of mountaintops. It's just, it's gorgeous. daniellelaporte.com/innersun. If you are reading show notes for this podcast episode, you know that in the prep kit, there's going to be an equinox guide. I talk about my personal rituals, how to prepare your space. If you can't make it live, the meditation will be available on Substack. You can go back to it anytime. This is such a beautiful meditation. You can do it all throughout the year, from equinox to solstices beyond. And because it's free, please invite your friends. Bring a soul sister, anybody, which is everybody who needs some extra light. Again, Sunday, September 21st, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. It will be recorded on Substack. Come as you are with whatever you've got. daniellelaporte.com/innersun. I love you. Let's light it up together. Now let's talk about self-pity, or is it compassion? Here's the topic today. How can we tell the difference between wallowing and allowing? And by allowing, I mean allowing that higher light to come in, which is really about the discernment between self-pity or self-compassion. Self-compassion is the goal, 24/7, every day of the week, deeply, and radiating that out to everybody. My experience has been, I got very confused about self-pity and self-compassion because as a former spiritual bypasser, I'm kidding, I still spiritual bypass all the time. It's like my job. I can still think I'm doing the Buddhist thing, but really it's a little bit on the wallow. This is how I look at compassion. Compassion is a queen. Compassion is a king. Compassion is a benevolent, all-seeing, loving leader. Compassion is a very dignified energy because compassion gives you your dignity as it sees you. It's very embracing. It's very wise. Maybe if you're in a place right now where you can close your eyes right now, breathe into your heart. Become aware of that gold, friendly, unconditionally friendly, luminous quality in your heart center. This is the real you, always, every day, eternal. We just forget, that's all. Just forgot about it. And just vibe into the energy of compassion. Your heart knows what it is. Merciful, interconnected, respectful, unconditionally loving, and therefore sees everything clearly. The virtue of compassion is one of the most medicinal, I would say, virtues that we have. It's a soul quality. Compassion knows that it's highly capable of healing people and situations. Compassion is a possibility thinker. It's very responsible. It's gentle, but it's inspired. It's motivated. Okay. If your eyes aren't open, open them now. Let's talk about self-pity. Self-pity is like the zirconia diamond of compassion. Remember when those were hot things? There were infomercials on zirconian diamonds. It looks real, but it's not. Self-pity is always looking in the rear view mirror. It looks backwards. It is scanning for blame. When you are in self-pity mode, you're going to blame yourself or you're going to blame other people. And self-pity, because it's gentle, it's visage, the optics are, it's self-care. It seems interested in getting out of pain, but not really. Nope, it isn't. Here's a big, epic problem with self-pity. It's completely and entirely disempowering. It makes you weaker. Self-pity has us doubt our agency, our capacities. We then won't engage with our actual capacity to heal ourselves. In a way, it helps us avoid our light. It kind of pads us to our power. When we're in that poor me mode, we're blinded. We don't see the various forms of wealth we have in our life, the wealth of friends and fresh air and clean drinking water. We don't see we have a strong immune system. We just do not see clearly. Self-pity is like this energetic fog in our consciousness. The particular thing that is particularly uncomfortable about self-pity is that it usually takes someone else to point it out to us. It's got cringe all over it. And it's why we don't listen to friends. Our friends so often are wise, juicy girlfriends. They are telling us like, maybe it's time to have you considered, might you want to? What they're really doing is they're being compassionate with our self-pity, but we're just in the wallow mode instead of the allowing for the truth to come in, which will unhinge our power in the best way. Okay, let me tell you my self-pity story. This is where I really got this turnaround. There was some shame involved, but I was able to heal it. There was a time when I was really physically, chronically sick. And I was feeling very, very sorry for myself. It was the mold poisoning. It had turned into bronchitis, which was always this borderline pneumonia. My overtaxed immune system was too much. It was all too much. Brain fog. I had to couldn't find exactly the word it was foggy. And being identified as being on the path, my mind would always go to, why did I create this? Why am I manifesting this? I'm failing at wellness. I even question my capacity to give spiritual direction to people because I couldn't crack this chronic thing. And then I started negotiating more with God. If only I didn't feel this way, I could be happier. And if I'm happier, I could serve humanity better. It's this loop. And then I got a very gentle but powerful redirection via a text, always via text, from a healer friend who said to me, why don't you try addressing your self-pity now? After all the things, after the prayers, the meditation, the frog lunges, the tinctures, the inhalers, the steaming, the rosemary oil, the visualizations. How about this? Why don't you try addressing your self-pity now? And that was wincy and cringy, but it also felt so divinely timed because I was doing all the right things. I had to do all those other things. I had to do the cleansing of my system and boosting of my immune system and visualizing clear, all of it. But number 29 on the list was my pity party. And here's how I did the spiritual bypass. I thought, this gets so specific, as spiritual bypasses often do, because, the ego is so clever. I thought I was being all Buddhist by approaching my pain with mindfulness. And I thought that analyzing every day why I had manifested this hardship, I thought that was a form of self-compassion. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to put it all together in one sentence, like analyzing why I manifested hardship. Okay, that's awareness, that's consciousness. That is how we grow instead of being victims. But at that time in my life, That's not what I needed. That is not what compassion was. It actually kept me in the loop of pity. And this is how I know. Feeling sorry for myself, i.e., continuing to analyze why I manifested this and why things sucked, it actually felt really good. It felt really soothing, but it wasn't getting me any results because I felt emotionally pathetic. I mean, I was down about being down. And of course, we have to honor all those feelings, but we also have to honor our power. Like when we say we want out of this, we got to do the things to get out, So also feeling sorry for myself and doing the mental loop on poor me, I can't manifest mo better. It was this really kind of sweet justification for a lot of Netflix and I was eating a lot of gluten-free waffles at the time and having these sneaky why me conversations with God. I was not imagining the inevitability of my healing. When I was in self-pity mode, I was not visualizing how bright my future was going to be. Instead, I was ruminating. Again, this is like so nuanced, and I know a lot of you are going to relate to this. I was ruminating on how my shitty circumstances were keeping me from my bright future. Like I was thinking I was being spiritual because like there's a bright future there, but really I'm just so bummed and pissed that things are shitty now and I can't get to my full evolution and my full service. And so perspective is everything. The emphasis, the strength of my energy was going towards things suck and therefore I can't make them brighter instead of they will be brighter and I have the capacity. I can say this for myself though. Once I saw the pity party pattern, I got to work on restructuring it right away. So the walks that I'd been taking around the lake, asking why I sucked at healing, turned into a conversation with the eternal loving presence. It went like this. It was 2 lines that I repeated over and over again. Eternal loving presence and my higher self, please transform my self-pity into resilience. I release my self-pity into loving awareness. Do you want to do it with me? Eternal loving presence, that's God, that's everything. And my higher self, that is my soul, guiding all of my choices if I just listen. Eternal loving presence and my higher self, please transform my self-pity, I see it, I'm not judging it, into resilience, which is a virtue, which is a soul quality. Resilience is all about the flexibility, the adaptability that comes from love. I release my self-pity into what? What are you going to do with it? Where are you going to put it? It goes somewhere. Be conscious of where it goes. I release my self-pity into loving awareness. I said that over and over again, and it was, at the beginning, it was very uncomfortable. I felt very ashamed of my self-pity. I saw how it was blocking what I wanted the most, which was healing. And then once I became aware that it was holding me back from healing, I felt even more embarrassed. But I got at it and I made self-pity my energetic, my meditative focus for 3 days. Magic number, 3 days. And it worked. A new energy started to emerge, started to think differently. And I know those thoughts moved into healing my lungs. I would call it gentle optimism, which I would say is really sort of one of the key characteristics of compassion. I did not feel healed of all of my emotional pain because my body was still under great duress, and that is tough emotionally. I was still physically weak, did not heal myself in 3 days, but I was able to have a more honest conversation with myself, which is really all any of us can. Is that all any of us can hope for? No, let me rephrase that. Having an honest conversation with yourself ideally is your top priority. All healing will come from that truth, capital T, truth. So once I was in the groove of releasing my self-pity into loving awareness, I felt more honest with myself, with my friends about what I did need to do to heal. And I needed to keep up with the nebulizer and all of my supplements and my meditations. But that honesty, the gentleness, brought me to the honesty that I needed to be genuinely compassionate with myself, patient with myself, and with the divine. And that is counter to self-pity, because compassion is not saccharine. Compassion will never flatter in order to manipulate. Oh, it's going to be okay, because you want someone to feel better, when sometimes you need to say, look, it's not going to be okay if this keeps up. That can be compassion, Compassion is very, very honest, but it delivers the truth with absolute love. Compassion is never going to speak down to your pain, because compassion believes in you. It doesn't see weakness. It sees what's off course. It sees where the imbalance is, but it fully knows the capacity for healing. Compassion is so respectful of where you are and where you will be, with all the right amounts of love. Compassion will champion the best outcome without pity and without delusion. So powerful. Compassion knows that you have what it takes to heal. I know that you have what it takes to heal, but I'm going to keep reminding you pretty much every Friday for the foreseeable future. For the age of Aquarius, I will be here. Always with love and compassion. Danielle. Thank you so much for listening, for feeling, for spreading the word. With love.